Hello and welcome to all. In the rush for the coronavirus vaccine, Russia seems to have already won. Indeed, on Tuesday, August 11th, to everyone's surprise, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced during a video conference that Russia has developed the first vaccine against the coronavirus, which is supposed to offer long-lasting immunity. To back up his claim, he said the vaccine had even been given to one of his daughters. The antidote, called Sputnik V, is believed to be effective. In fact, it is already attracting crowds as more than 1 billion doses have already been pre-ordered by 20 foreign countries. However, several scientists remain skeptical about this announcement, and not without reason. Currently, several questions hover around the effectiveness of this vaccine. Have the Russians really invented the world's first coronavirus vaccine? Is it as effective as claimed? To find out, stay with us until the end. The global vaccine race. While the coronavirus pandemic has already claimed nearly 750,000 lives worldwide, a vaccine now appears to be the only solution to contain the virus. Thus, for several months now, the world's major powers have been engaged in a frantic race to find an effective vaccine against the disease as quickly as possible. On July 31st, the WHO even identified 139 vaccine candidates that are in the stage, called preclinical, where animal tests must be conducted and 26 in the clinical stage to be tested on humans. But to create a vaccine, you still have to go through 3 distinct phases. The first is to assess primarily the safety of the product. The second is to explore the vaccine's efficacy and its ability to create antibodies. Once these 2 phases have been validated, it will be necessary to begin the phase of testing on hundreds, if not thousands, of people to determine the risks of the product before it can be licensed. Currently, there are 9 vaccines in Phase 1, 12 in Phase 2, and only 5 in Phase 3. And of course, the United States is part of the race. Indeed, among their most advanced projects, that of the National Institutes of Health, NIH, associated with Moderna Biotech, launched Phase 3 at the end of July with thousands of participants. But that's not all. In the United Kingdom too, there may be the future vaccine that will put an end to the current pandemic. And not without reason. Oxford University, in partnership with the British pharmaceutical group AstraZeneca, is also in Phase 3. The laboratory hopes to have results from this phase in the autumn and to deliver the product by the end of the year. On the other side of the globe, China is also determined to be the first country to have a vaccine. It has not 1 but 2 vaccines in Phase 3. The first is CoronaVac, developed by the Chinese laboratory Sinovac Biotech, and the second by the state-owned pharmaceutical company Sinopharm. On the other hand, at the head of the pack is also the German company BioNTech, which, together with its American partner Pfizer, was able to enter the final phase at the end of July. However, it is undeniable that all these vaccines are usually expected to take several years. As a result, the current rush will certainly not allow the rarest side effects of these vaccines to be known, especially since most of the most advanced projects promise results by the end of 2020. This is an almost impossible deadline, but sometimes the only way to accomplish this is simply not to wait for the final results of one phase to launch the next. For example, many laboratories are already in the industrial production phase before the actual efficacy of the vaccine is known. And despite the consequences that this may have, the governments of several countries have decided to move to pre-ordering. So much so that 5.7 billion doses have already been pre-purchased worldwide. Starting with the United States, which, with the Operation Warp Speed, wants to be able to vaccinate all Americans from January 2021. As a result, after funding several clinical trials, Washington is betting on several horses and has invested billions of dollars in the hope of seeing at least one vaccine that can provide immunity to Americans. So, we'll see what will be most effective in the end. However, this approach will result in the United States losing huge amounts of money, since it has paid out at least $9.4 billion to 7 vaccine developers and signed supply contracts with 6 of them to eventually receive several million doses. This is huge, to say the least, because it could, according to experts, leave the rest of the world virtually vaccine-free. In addition, vaccine developers Oxford AstraZeneca and Sanofi GSK are expected to provide up to 700 million doses between them to the European Commission. Japan has already secured 490 million doses. So have Brazil, the United Kingdom, and many other countries, which have also ordered doses in bulk for a potentially effective cure for COVID-19. And let's not forget Russia. The country rightly claims to have developed the world's first vaccine, of which, today, 1 billion doses have been pre-ordered by 20 foreign countries. This vaccine, which does not yet exist, seems to be the object of all fantasies. But how was Russia able to invent a vaccine so quickly when it was not even one of the 5 candidates to be in phase 3? Well, let's take a closer look. Before continuing this video, here is the question of the day: who invented the rabies vaccine? Is it Option A, Louis Pasteur? Option B, Charles Darwin? Option C, Gregor Mendel? Write the right answer in the comments and we'll see at the end of the video if you were right. Russia has its coronavirus vaccine. Let's start again. On Tuesday, August 11th, Russian President Vladimir Putin made a major announcement. He took the whole world by surprise by affirming that Russia had developed the first vaccine against the new coronavirus during a video conference with members of his government broadcast on television. It is a treatment that would provide long immunity that could last 2 years with 2 successive injections. In fact, the vaccine is said to be so effective that it was administered to one of the Kremlin chief's daughters. Unsurprisingly, the Russian Ministry of Health has obviously given regulatory approval for development to the Nikolai Gamaleya Institute, a state research center in epidemiology and microbiology located in Moscow, which is at the origin of this new vaccine. Apparently, the remedy has passed all the necessary tests and it will be produced in September for medical staff and teachers. And it is only on January 1, 2021, that the population will also be able to be vaccinated. However, the vaccine, named Sputnik V after the Soviet satellite, the first spacecraft put into orbit, is expected to have entered phase 3 on Wednesday, August 12, according to statements by Kirill Dmitriev, the chairman of the Sovereign Wealth Fund. So how is it possible that the world's first coronavirus vaccine was developed even before the end of the last phase, would you say? Well, that's partly why the vaccine has been so criticized following the Russian president's announcement, especially since Russia has so far not published any detailed studies of the results of its trials to determine whether the vaccine is truly effective. A badly received ad. A WHO spokesman reacted quickly, saying that there is no known data on the quality, efficacy, and safety of the Russian vaccine. For its part, the UN organization said that every pharmaceutical product must undergo the various trials and tests before being licensed for deployment, while stressing the importance of adhering to clear guidelines and directives in vaccine development. Today, discussions are continuing between the Russian authorities and the WHO with the aim of eventual pre-qualification, which will only be possible through a rigorous review of all the data collected during clinical trials. And for good reason. Russia's vaccine has been developed far too quickly, according to many experts. And on top of that, it would have been administered to only 76 people as of mid-June. It is therefore believed that WHO's reservations about the efficacy of this product are justified, especially since the vaccine is just beginning the final phase, which includes thousands of people. But if Vladimir Putin's announcement has been so criticized, it is for many other reasons. In fact, the scientists of the Gamaleya Center had already made the news last May. Why? Simply because they had personally injected themselves with their prototype vaccine. This is a complete break with the usual protocols designed to speed up the scientific process as much as possible. As if all this wasn't enough, in mid-July, British, Canadian, and American intelligence services accused Russia of trying to hack into research centers working on coronavirus vaccines. In the face of all these polemics and contradictions, the experts judge that the announcement of the Russian president is only a political announcement. Nevertheless, for the time being, it is difficult to know if this vaccine is only a way for Russia to become again a scientifically respected power. Very clever who can say where the truth lies. But it will certainly not take long to discover it. So, we wonder who would be the lucky winner? It is certainly difficult to guess, but one thing is certain: the first one who finds the vaccine will be symbolically crowned with success. However, we shouldn't claim victory immediately because we still don't know if the vaccine will be 40% or 90% effective. And even if it will prevent people from getting sick or if it will reduce the symptoms? More importantly, will it reduce the transmission of the virus or will people remain contagious? To all these questions, no one has an answer yet. It is, therefore, necessary to believe that this race against time to find an effective remedy against the coronavirus is not yet won. Thus, Russia's vaccine may very well be doubled by another candidate. Now it's your turn to comment on what you think of the vaccine invented by Russia. Will it succeed in finally winning first place? If not, Louis Pasteur invented the rabies vaccine in 1885. I hope that many of you found the right answer.